We have two languages. Has anybody ever heard of Tuscarora before? Awesome. Tuscarora is what the colonists, what the Europeans called us, and the language is Starura. So in Starura, Amstapurachu Farufa, it means eagle elk. We're also Wokan, which is Cape Fear Indians. And in that language, I am Uchara Pati Witiboyi. Same thing, eagle elk. So I'm gonna let the family up here introduce themselves.
My name is Ruby Lee Thigpen Whitehurst. I am the writer of Two Nations. Two Nations is the origin of my family, wherein an American Indian man married an African woman who was kidnapped and brought here by slave traders, and somehow she escaped. So Two Nations, where, like I say, American Indian and African, and Two Nations became many nations, because I have DNA from almost every race on earth, the United States, just everywhere. And so we hope to bring you Two Nations. We hope to start our play the first Saturday in May 2023 through the last Saturday in September 2023, right here on the phone. And these are some of my cast members. Justin.
Yeah, my name's Justin. My last name's DeProsperous. It's an Italian name, but it's very easy to say, believe it or not. You just say DeProsperous. That's all it is. But I'm Monacan. My people come from Virginia. I do have some of my cousin tribes here in North Carolina. You may have heard of Occaneechi or Saponi. We share the same culture, same language, the Catawba as well. The Occaneechi and Saponi are actually originally from Virginia, but they were forced into land in North Carolina that nobody wanted. And many of the rivers in North Carolina are actually named after some of our other cousin tribes. They don't really exist anymore, such as the Yadkin Pedy or the Eno. Those were my people. Mostly tell a lot of us apart by the language we speak. The Tuscarora speak an Iroquoian type dialect. My people speak what most people call today a Siouan dialect. We call it Eastern Siouan. In my language, it's called Yeseneche. Some people just call it Tutelo Saponi, because without the Tutelo and Saponi people, we wouldn't have anything left of our language. But Miss Ruby tapped me to do her play, and this is actually the first time we've ever met. But this is just what I do. I've been doing living history since I was 8 years old. I still do it today. So yeah, if you are curious about my culture, I don't mind, asking questions. But that was all I had, unless you all had any questions for me. 4 years old, I believe, when Horatio Hale talked to me. But he was there when they were pushed out of their land in Virginia, and they made the trek all the way up to New York. So that it's been documented today, and the people who teach, because there's only one, maybe two, you could count the number of people who speak the language fluently on two hands. But we are trying to bring it back. I'm involved in, it's a monthly meeting, and usually it's about 1.5 to 2 hours. He's an Occaneechi man, Corey Roberts, and he teaches us every month, so that's how I'm trying to maintain it myself. But he actually knows enough, along with a few other people, as to where we can actually figure out or make up some words that we don't have. Many of our words are gone. Like, we don't know the word for turtle. It's lost to time. We'll likely never know what it is. So that's what we're doing today. We try to take as much as we can from Horatio Hale and Juliana from the 1840s, and we're trying to today. 30 years ago, I couldn't have said that to you. It was very, it wasn't being researched, but now it is.
In Tuscarora, the Raquis is how you would say turtle in Tuscarora. The reason why we know that is because the Tuscarora language was never destroyed. We have a lot of people who left North Carolina and migrated north. They stopped off with the Ramapo up in Pennsylvania. They some married into the some of the Cherokee that went up the East Coast in New Jersey and New York with the Shinnecock, and traveled on up into the Massachusetts, which they were called Massachusetts, which today they're not just Massachusetts, they're Narragansett and Nipmuc and quite a few other tribes. You'll find we have a lot of relatives up the East Coast, even down in Florida. In North Carolina has the largest American Indian population east of the Mississippi. We're the 8th largest state. A lot of the tribes are written out as extinct. Doesn't mean that they are because they're recorded that way. There's a few wars that you're going to see with American Indians during colonial times that are very famous wars that they teach about in school, in institutions of higher learning. King Philip's War, which was Metacom, that was up in the Rhode Island area. We actually are federated with some of those tribes up there. So that's the Northern War that you hear about, King Philip's War. Down here you're going to hear about the Tuscarora War. And then a little bit below us you're going to hear about the Yamasee War. And then a little bit below them, down in the Savannah area, you're going to hear about the Seminole War. There was 3 different Seminole Wars. So those are the famous ones you're going to hear about on the East Coast, but there was lots of wars. Shawnee with Chief Tecumseh, and I mean, even we have someone very similar to Tecumseh. I think his name